What's up, folks? This is Higgy here with Outside the Lines podcast. Tonight's a little bit different, and I did one of these the other day walking around up here in Rome, but I didn't like how it went down, so I figured I'd just sit down and do one. Well, primarily because it's cold outside, but anyway, this is not an interview episode. It's a purpose episode. And I've got some notes here. I want to make sure I hit over this thing. First of all, I appreciate our 8 interviewees. Fulkerson, Parker, Horsley, Mathis, Blackstone, Roman, Coach Camp, and Oglesby. I really appreciate you guys. And I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to call you out here a little bit. I don't know if you've been sharing. I'm sure you probably have. But I'm going to ask that you kind of do a little more, and you'll see why here in just a minute. But the real reason for this is to thank you guys and then kind of explain to the rest of the world what this podcast is about. It's not a sports podcast. Sports are the context, and I love sports, and I know that most of the folks that watch this probably are going to be interested in sports, but this is about leadership. It's about influence. It's about identity. It's about formation. It's about growing. It's about faith. It's about coaches shaping lives long after the scoreboard is over, after the game is over with. It's about you guys. It's about the coaches out there getting it done every day, just sharing information. This and you know, this is for folks, and the way that I see it is for coaches, teachers, parents, mentors, and players, former athletes, maybe figuring out who they are now. It's just a place for folks to find some encouragement in the stories of sports, right? They're just so everywhere. In just a minute, I'm probably going to get fired up. And we find those things in the faith world. We find them in the Word of God. We find them in the Judeo-Christian ethic. We find the principles of how to do life there, and sports just is an avenue to do that, and that's what this podcast is about. These aren't celebrity interviews. We may have some famous people on here one day. I say famous, whatever. I'd like to get a hold of some folks in particular that I have in mind, but they're not celebrity interviews. They're legacy interviews. These things are for people to preserve the stories and the lessons that shaped lives throughout the past 10, 20, 30 years, right? And in even more recent memory. But these stories, they deserve to be heard, man. People need to hear what you guys have to say. They need to have the opportunity to see life from outside the fence, outside the lines, so to speak. They need to be able to see from outside the lines what's going on a little bit inside the lines. And you guys have a chance to do that. And so that's what this podcast is about. This is about interviewing coaches that get it done every day. And here's one of the reasons that's kind of motivated me here after 8 interviews. We've been doing this for a couple of months now, and it's pretty obvious I'm going to do this. But we don't have a whole lot of activity on the site. Now, we're getting some views or whatever, but we get very few comments, very few likes, and just limited engagement. And we got to have that. It's okay, but we got to have it if we want to impact the folks out there. If your interviews are going to reach, we need the conversations to be there. Like if we need to know that people are interacting. So if you've been on the thing, you probably are just watching quietly. I think we've got the right people watching, the right type of people watching, but they're just watching quietly. I like that. I like that idea. But the quiet belief eventually needs to be shared belief, and we just need to recognize the power of getting on and making a comment or just sharing it with someone. Subscribing even, I guess. But more importantly is commenting and sharing the information. The success here is not trying to get a bunch of subscriptions or subscribers. If I wanted to do that, I've got some other avenues I could pursue. This right here is not for virality, for things to go viral or whatever, or even trends. It's impacting if we know that one person is impacted, right? And I've had some folks kind of out of the blue kind of reach back out to me and say, "Man, watch your podcast," and that's cool. It's crap, but it's cool to me to get a text or an email or even to say I watched it. It was cool. I enjoyed the conversation with this coach or that coach, and but it's way more. But then I get to see it, right? But what I want is other people to see these comments and these other people to have shared this with other people. It's not a big. It's not helping as much if I get a personal email or text. It's more important for it to be in the public domain, for you to make a comment. Like, "Oh man, that was cool," or "I appreciate," whatever. You know how to do these things. Which is another thing. I understand that a lot of the audience for this is not going to be people that probably comment very much in the public domain. I get that, because that's coaches. Coaches don't get involved, man. We kind of back off, and that is for real. But I'm asking you to go kind of step outside your comfort zone and share this with folks. Like, we don't like to toot our own horn a lot of times, and we're not going to get on Facebook and share a bunch of stuff. I get that. But if we can get one coach to rethink his leadership style to impact people, to impact kids in a positive way, or if we can impact the way one parent speaks to their kids or even interacts with the coach, if we can share that bit of insight with a parent and it helps that family. This podcast isn't about trying to be loud. It's just about being loud and out and making noise in the public domain. No, it's just about being truth, having truth shared, and maybe some wisdom come out of that's going to help somebody. So if you've been on the podcast, like I said, I believe we've got the right people watching it. We're doing it quietly, and I'm asking you guys to jump up and share those leadership comments, your influencing comments, your encouraging comments to other coaches, or even the ones that get on here and share their interviews and share their stories, man. Just encourage them with that, because they might not get a chance to be on the interview but one time, right? But I'm going to be doing this every week, right? I get to do this a lot, so I'm cool. I'm good with this. I can handle the small numbers, but the coaches that are pouring their stories into the public domain, they could use really the encouragement, because I'm sure you guys, Fulkerson, Parker, Horsley, Mathis, Blackstone, Roman, Camp, and Oglesby, I'm sure you guys watched the episode, and it would really mean a lot if people would reach out and maybe ask you a question or talk to you or let you know everything's, what it meant to you. Because there's been some really amazing stories, man. I think about Miss Mathis's story, probably the way that she told it. And the bad thing about that interview was the technology, the video and the editing and all that. It was horrible. I did not do a good job of that. But man, her story, the way she told it, when she talked about how the one season was really rough, but because they persevered through it, the next season was really phenomenal, and it was built on top of the tough time. Man, that's a lesson that everybody needs to hear. Man, I think less than 100 folks have looked at that video, and that's one of the largest numbers for the videos, right? But man, that story needs to be out there. There needs to be thousands of people that hear that story. even as horrible of a video as it is, because I did the video was horrible because of me, because I didn't do a good job with technology. But we're getting better at that. But man, that was just crazy because the way she told it, and with such passion and with such pureness. And then I mean, I just think about Fulkerson and how, I mean, well, first of all, he's just a nut anyway, and he's just funny, but some of the wisdom that comes out, I could go on every one of them. Talk about, even the young folks, like when Roman was talking, just good stuff coming out of that. Coach Camp, man, Horsley has an amazing story that we didn't even really get into. And that was on my fault, again, because I didn't push him in that area. But, man, his story of humbleness producing such crazy results is one of the better stories that I heard, which is why I had him on. But once again, like I said, people need to hear these stories. And that's why we're here. So they need to know that you've watched it. And if there's any one thing on it, man, don't hold them accountable for the horrible video and the horrible editing. The story is the piece here, and I'm going to get better at the editing and the video, I promise. So if you've been on the podcast, help us carry it. That's all I'm asking. Share one episode. This is your call to action, right? In the whole video world, that's what they call it, a call to action. Here's your call to action. Share one episode with one person this week. Just get on the channel and share one episode. You can share this episode right here is fine. It doesn't matter. Introduce one person to the podcast. And, or maybe pick out one of the little shorts that we do that you can share with somebody that'll help get them over to the channel. Because see, what I need right now, I'm looking for folks to interview, to get on. And I'm really kind of hesitant to do that because I want to make sure that we are moving in the right direction. And so that's why I'm doing this episode here. Maybe we can get the message out about concerning what the podcast is about. That's what this is. That's what this one is. And so this next Saturday we should be sending out another interview. But right now, the call to action is share an episode with a person. Hey, make a comment. Put one comment down this week. If the here's the thing. If something in there, if the message resonates with you, subscribe to the channel. If you hear a message don't subscribe if it doesn't resonate. If it's horrible, don't. If the channel is horrible, don't subscribe. But if it does, subscribe. Why the subscription? Because when people subscribe, first of all, you can get a notification like that, right, when a new episode comes out, and that's fine. But when other people see that other people have subscribed, they're more apt to listen to the message. And the message here is, man, there's so many things that we can learn together, like the word resonate. If it resonates with you, see, if you're in tune with the message that you're hearing, man, that is a biblical principle. If it resonates, and you will know if it resonates because you'll know you will have heard the truth in something somebody said. And it typically is going to be some biblical principle that resonates and rings so true. And so when something just really hammers you, when Fulkerson says something that hammers you, or Coach Camp or Miss Mathis or Horsley or whoever, Coach Blackstone, absolutely a crazy interview, one of my favorites. But so when they do, and it wasn't, man, you genuinely have an opportunity to touch their hearts by letting them know that they said something that resonated with you, and adds value to that person. That's what I'm trying to get across here. And I kind of feel like I'm begging here. I'm really trying to preach. That's what I'm doing. I'm preaching right here to the folks that are getting on here. And I know the right people are on here. I'm just encouraging you to get outside your comfort zone and make a comment. Even tell us what we're doing. If it resonates, make a comment or subscribe. Right? This channel, these messages that the coaches have is not going to get out unless we promote this out. Because see, what happens YouTube, if they don't see activity on the channel, they won't share it again. So for the first hour or two or first half a day or whatever, they'll push it out to people that they think might watch it. And so you'll get, a few views. But if nobody comments on it, if nobody subscribes to it, if nobody likes it, then YouTube shuts it down and they go on to the next podcast that somebody's promoted and they push it out to those people. That's what this is about. And this is about getting y'all's message out there to people. Look, sharing your episode, it isn't promoting me. I can do that. I get on Facebook. I'm going to get on here and do this anyway. I want you guys promoted. I want the coaches that we interview promoted, and the comments that we are going to get, because we will get them, the comments that we get and the shares that people that throw out across the internet. When those things start happening, it's going to promote the coaches and the messages that you guys have. It's not going to. This isn't about me. I can get on Facebook. I can do this. I can do Instagram. I've been doing all that forever. This is about you guys. It's extending the reach of your story. And here's the thing. Your story is probably exactly what somebody else needs. I mean, I do the interview, and it's exactly what I need. And I'm just one dude. And I've heard all of y'all's stories, pretty much. But every time you tell them, it's like, oh my God. And we need to encourage one another with that. Look, the vision for the future is just more conversations, deeper questions. We just want to be honest and real here, man, so that people can gather real value out of this. If you ever get on TikTok or you get on YouTube or any of the social media and you're scrolling through, and I got my little phone right here, and I can get on and I go to TikTok, and when I do that, I'll just get on it right here. So, I have to log in, right? So I get on, and as I start scrolling, I'm just going to tell you what, pops up. So we have the first one. Now I got to get this thing to where it'll give me a reel. Okay, so the first one here is an interview with, man, it's crazy. The first one is an interview with Steph Curry and Michael Jordan. And the next one is somebody on the beach out on the lake. And then the next one is somebody slinging something across the ice on a because it snowed, right? And the next one is a little girl shooting a basket. And then the next one is another basketball game. And the next one is some girl trying to sell something on some. See, most of this stuff, and here's one that's just replaying a TV show, like a part of a TV show. Here's a guy shoveling snow off the top of the house. Look, these things are not really adding value to people's lives. But that's what this podcast wants to do. I mean, I just mentioned 2 or 3 things, 7 or 8 things there. And I don't even know if any of them really added any value. They just wasted my time. But you guys have value to add to people. And you have values not only if you're being interviewed, but you have value by commenting on the resonancy that you hear, on the revelation that you hear, on the message that you hear the people talking about. It's good stuff. Good stuff. All these little things, all these little small wins, which is another biblical principle, all these little small wins, all these little seeds that have been thrown out, they're going to produce. They're going to produce. And I want you to know that don't give up on the podcast. Share the podcast. Find somebody to share it with. Get back on and go watch some of these other videos and make a comment concerning the person that's being interviewed and encourage them. And in our growth, we will grow the influence. We will grow true influence. It won't be some negative, politically driven deal. It'll be something that's seriously focused on doing the right thing and sharing something that people can get a value from. Look, outside the lines, I'm going to read this. Outside the lines exist because the most important things happen beyond the scoreboard. Outside the line, that's for real. I've learned that. That's a really good line. Outside the lines exist because the most important things happen beyond the scoreboard. After the game, at the practice, and right now on this podcast. This is outside the lines where we have an opportunity to share insight with people that would otherwise never have it, never have the opportunity to hear the testimony. And here, and I think that this last comment right here is going to really set the tone for me and make me feel better about what we're doing. The Bible tells us that we're made overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. The blood of the Lamb represents the sacrifice that Christ Jesus made for us, and the word of our testimony. We have to share the word. We have to share the word, or we are not overcoming. We're not helping others overcome. And we can help others overcome by sharing our testimony of sacrifice and love and completion and diligence and truth and fortitude and honesty and integrity and showing up. Man, all of the things that we know to be true elements of a good life. We have the opportunity to do that right here. You know, I feel like I've preached right here, but that's all right, because when we get people on this interview, it's more fun. But I'm probably going to do a couple of these along, just to try to do the old Jerry Lewis telethon thing, right, and recruit some people. I don't know if anybody remembers all that. Look, outside the line exists because the most important things happen beyond the scoreboard. Thank you for walking with me. Now help me carry it. Let's take it out there to the world. Out there to the world. God is good. You're awesome.